Neil Armstrong was once quoted as saying, "Research is creating new knowledge." And for me, this is certainly true when it comes to the Constitution. The Constitution is such an amazing document. It consists of so many individuals, the ideas of so many individuals, and many of those individuals were lawyers. Also, it is based on a collection of historical books or historical documents, and the foundation is based on biblical principles. And in order to truly understand the Constitution, we have to do our research. We have to research the setting, we have to research the historical background, have to research context, and we have to research any other factors that may have had an influence in how the Constitution was constructed. For me, before beginning this class, I must say that I had very little knowledge, in-depth knowledge about the Constitution. Sure, in school we had lessons, basic lessons, history lessons that brought up the Constitution. In college, the same thing. We had basic lessons that spoke about the Constitution, but nothing in depth as in this class. So for me, I cannot say that I have any major misconceptions about the Constitution, because I say that because I feel that I have very little knowledge regarding the Constitution. However, from learning the lessons in this class, I would say that I found some things very interesting. I found it interesting that the term separation of church and state is not listed in the Constitution. That term actually originated from Thomas Jefferson, who wrote a letter to the Danbury Baptist Association, and the letter was regarding the protection of their religious liberties. So that's where the term came from, and the term became popular from the case of Everson versus the Board of Education. So I found that very interesting. Also, because the Constitution is founded on biblical principles, I thought it quite interesting that the word God is not in the Constitution. So that's another interesting thing that I found out. Now, when it comes to the hierarchy of the Constitution, my understanding is that the hierarchy begins with divine law. Divine law is the foundation of the Constitution. Divine law represents principles that are inspired by God, and those principles include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The founders believed that legitimate governments were under a higher authority, and that authority comes from God, and it is God who enforces the law. And these are principles that you find throughout the Bible. We see them in the Ten Commandments, we see them in other areas of the Bible. And one verse in particular, Isaiah 33:22, states, "For the Lord is our judge. He is our lawmaker. He is our king, and it is he who saves us." And that, I believe, is from the English Standard Version. But that is the first level of the hierarchy, which is divine law, and that gives the authority. Now, the second level of the hierarchy is the Declaration of Independence, and that gives us the legitimacy. The Declaration of Independence tells us that all individuals have certain unalienable rights that no governments can take away from. So this is where we get the legitimacy of the Constitution. Now, the next level is the rationale, and that falls under the Federalist Papers. The Federalist Paper, that I said, provides the rationale and the legal philosophy of the Constitution. It was a collection of papers that were published to explain how the founding fathers thought, how they came about their decisions. So that set of papers were also used to promote the ratification of the Constitution, because at that time people were very careful when it was concerning government, because they just came from under British rule, and they wanted to ensure that they didn't experience another type of government like that. So the Federalist Paper provided the rationale of the founding fathers, and it also explains their original intent. So that's good to know. So if we want to do our research, we can research the Federalist Papers and try to gain an understanding of how that came about. Now, all these principles, including the original historical documents, structured the legal and worldview framework of the Constitution. So this is how the Constitution came together. This is all the work that was put into Constitution was based on this hierarchy. Now, the last question here talk about the importance of the Constitution to have a legal authority in divine law. And that is important because divine law appeals to a higher authority. And this is important because it tells us that it is God who gives us our unalienable rights. We have certain rights, and it's because of God. Those are our God-given rights. And that no government, no legitimate government has the right to take those away. And this is why it is important to have the divine law as authority. Now, with that said, as I said before, the Constitution is such an amazing document. And to truly understand it, we have to really research that document. And I'm learning from this course. I've learned so much, and I know I'm going to learn more because the course is continuing. So from what I've gained some more, I just gained so much information regarding the Constitution, and I deeply appreciate everything that I've learned, and I have a greater appreciation for all the work that went into the Constitution. And with that said, I'm going to just say I really enjoy this course, and my name is Donette Burgess, and I thank you for your attention.